Amid Western sanctions, inflation and the threat of regional war spillover, Iran goes to elections. While the run-up to polls painted a dismal picture of low voter turnout, Iran's supreme leader has urged voters to exercise their rights. Will the shadows of the 2022 mass protests have any ramifications on the political mandate? Here's a report.
Iran's double elections are under the spotlight. Voters are casting their ballot in two separate polls, parliamentary elections and a separate voting process for the Assembly of Experts. The first determines who sits in the 290-member parliament. The second chooses leaders in the 88-member body that selects Iran's supreme leader. But the country's highly anticipated polls in times of a regional crisis and the war in Gaza are faced with a new challenge: low voter turnout. Iran's voters appear to be less than convinced of the promises made to them, the most important of them being a fight against corruption and stabilizing the country's economy.
Currently, the people's unwillingness to take part in the elections is mostly because they are hearing a lot of lies and fabrications, and they have lost their trust in voting.
Polls conducted by state media reveal that over 50% of the respondents are indifferent to the elections. From US pulling out of Iran's nuclear deal in 2018, to countrywide protests and clampdown on women's rights in 2022 following the custodial death of Mahsa Amini. The past few years have been tumultuous for the Islamic Republic. Sanctions by the West have also triggered an economic crisis in the country, raising the cost of living for Iranians.
The previous ones made promises, but nothing changed. Just take a look at the bazaar and the poor kids living on the streets. We need an official who takes action, not just campaigns.
Iran's critics and several human rights organizations believe that elections in the country are not free and fair anymore. Over the years, Iran's Guardian Council, which approves a candidate's eligibility, has been accused of engineering the elections. In the current polls as well, the council made headlines for announcing a final list of candidates barely 2 weeks before polling day. This in addition to Iran's coalition of reformist parties boycotting the elections, calling them ineffective.
The majority of people sent a clear message to the ruling system, but they felt that their message was not heard well or heard at all when sent through ballot boxes. So this time around, most of them chose another mechanism. I believe the main reason is that the parliament has been weakened and its role has been reduced.
However, in the midst of all criticism, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei has called on voters to come out in large numbers and cast their ballot. Banners and campaign posters also beckon the people to come out and exercise their right. While many seem unmoved by the election process, there still remain a few voices hopeful to bring about change through the elections.
Based on the events that are happening in the region and also the threats made by Iran's enemies, people's participation in the elections will neutralize all these threats.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.